You see? This is the proof I need!
Yeah, of what?
That we're living in an inverted world! Down is up is side! Cows go mass hysteria!
Or the 90s discovered the invert tool in MS Paint.
Yeah. He certainly earned his name. Ramjet is the type of guy who would use brute force first and actual planning second. Even in his jet form, is built to take the force of his own destruction, as he rams his entire form into anything he finds could crumble. Taking to the skies, Ramjet feels it's his own territory to command. He's pretty much a projectile that has no single target, since everything is his target. With the terribly short and awful release of his Generation 1 deco in the War for Cybertron toy line, Selects offered a second choice. The Seeker Conehead transforms into an F-15 Eagle jet, modified with prototype F-16 XL wings based on his classic alt form. But this Selects figure has been specifically decked out in his original Generation 2 color scheme. For those unaware, Generation 2 follows up from Generation 1. I know, crazy, right? After toy sales went downhill, it seemed the line was mainly going back around with insane repaints and flashy colors, and reruns of cartoons complete with irritating, unnecessary transition scenes. For a while, this line was trashed as just recycled toys in bright 90s colors, but I don't think that gives the line credit. There were actually a lot of original toys, or at least original characters. There were new stories in the comics, and were the repaints really that bad? Sure, it might have been annoying if you already had half the characters, and with War for Cybertron dumping them everywhere, I think I could picture the idea. Not every character was wildly different, but I like some of the flashy colors. They were interesting, bright, fun, and I mean, look at Anti-Ramjet. Well, maybe not bright, but how else would you change up from the original color scheme by going completely dark? This screams Decepticon with its black wings and purple body leading to the nose cone. It's a complete 180, but in case you forgot this is still Ramjet, his name is printed on both sides of the cockpit. Speaking of which, transparent plastic isn't always a plus, especially when it's used on joints, unless it's in purple, and it's certainly dark enough to fit within the scheme. Then the bright cyan just gives it a dash of something to show off. It's like a Conehead slipstream. In fact, I wouldn't argue if you wanted to call it that. Why not? Just have to do something about that name tag. Say what you want about his pre-tool Starscream, but I will defend his gorgeous jet mode. I'm not a jet expert, but even with the boosters, how do wings that short carry a brick like this? I mean, I'm sure it's possible, guy who's saying, actually. It certainly gives it an arrow-shaped style, which fits the character. Decepticon logos on the wings, including underneath, which makes me realize more jets need that. And the weapons plug underneath. With other portholes, you can plug it on the side of the arm to bring it forward, or make it seem more embedded with the leg porthole. But what's this? Flip open the feet and now we have something for those blast effects. And on top is a bonus porthole. Too bad he doesn't come with the sound effect tank to prop on top of the jet, because that was a weird thing. But I believe Larkin's Lair made something in its place. It's still rocking those rad, dark colors upon a pretty awesome shape for a jet that's slick, stylish, and slices through the air. Not to mention, this is probably one of the Coneheads that you can actually buy without being Indiana Jones just to get a hold of the mold. Yeah, I'm still salty, Amazon. Robot mode! Ramjet, proving that he could do Hot Link's job by sucking up the colors of Skywarp, continues to look amazing in this deco. The torso was already in black, but more of that cyan splashes around. It sets the purple back a bit, but doesn't deviate away from it completely. I will say, while I appreciate the cyan vents and great jelly center, the black in the body doesn't really present any of the sculpted details without paint to highlight it. Maybe dial back on the nightly prom tux and more actual robot. I do like the silver, especially in those traditional shoulder scoops. There's certainly some interesting textures, and it doesn't go overboard like the Siege Seekers. Not that I'm complaining. I'm starting to think triangles are a theme. His wings come off as a big show-off cape leading to the top of his head as its point. Someone add the Illuminati music. Okay. The wing leftovers hang off the back like spikes, but they don't really hold a position. You can rest it back into place if it becomes annoying. Speaking of which, you may have noticed the cockpit that's clearly not the head. But if they actually use the cockpit over top, it seems too big, so I guess we're going for the Russian doll. Whoa, hold on! I didn't realize Dan Aykroyd was in the Seekers. The original Seekers would be made coneheads simply for folding up the nose cone already stuck to the head. But this time, it's its own mold, free to move. The dark colors fit perfectly, but I love the ridiculous noggin and eyes in gold. Did someone say, articulation? Ball jointed head, shoulders out and in, forward to back rotation below, elbow bend, hips out and in, forward to back rotation below, knee bend, foot tilt, heels and toes move.
Hey girl, I heard you like adjustable wings.
Posability does seem to have completely missed the memo on the War for Cybertron series. Maybe it's because this design was heavily influenced by the classics mold, but there's no wrist rotation. Likely because of the position of the hand to the joint above, if I were to guess. The big issue I see going around is a lack of a waist rotation. Flip up the flap and you see this purple sensor bar left over from the tab on the cockpit, basically stopping any potential movement. Maybe it was too late in the design to fix. At least we're not teased with an opening hand that I assume wasn't possible. Oh wait. Yeah, it's a shame we don't get any of that, but I feel if I were to complain, I'd feel ungrateful. I'm not judging anyone else who's upset, and I feel the lack of a waist joint could have been avoided, but we still get the foot tilt, blast ports, and such, while Studio Series sometimes skip the new basics. I think I prefer the head to go higher for the flight poses, but it can't all be winners. Aside from the obvious parts, this is a retool of Starscream, but what's weird is that they changed out the torso. I mean, sure, okay, but why? I think it does the same thing. Does he want to look sharp with the other War for Cybertron G2 characters? Let's take a look at the accessories. He comes with 2 null rays, and while most cone heads feature different weapons that should have been swapped 3 times over, these actually fit well considering the shape of the original. Plus, how can I stay mad with the purple paint? Weapons continue to be blast compatible with ports included on the back. There's 5mm portholes in the feet, side of the legs, wings next to the adorable Decepticon logos, shoulders, underarms, which seems fun, hands, and back if it wasn't for the cockpit block. If you've had any of the Earthrise Seekers, then you pretty much know what you're getting into. But like G2 Megatron in the same series, the colors and origins are certainly going to be a major selling point, as they're unique and wild. No matter the mold, or even if you think it's not up to par with the other War for Cybertron figures, as someone who still finds satisfaction with a lesser figure, this really isn't worth getting mad at for me. He looks too good in the colors to skip. I mean, I'm already interested with a head torpedo.
Allspark TV. Now that's just prime.